But let's move on to more important stuff and Burgundy. And yes, Steve and I chose Burgundy. Why? Because we like to sell it and we like to drink it. More importantly, we chose Roty. Domaine Joseph Roty, to be exact. Joseph is unfortunately passed away in 2008, and his brother took over and passed away in 2012. We won't say how. But his son now, Pierre-Jean, has taken over, and the quality of the family and the winery is the same as it has been since going back to Louis XIV's or pre-Louis XIV's in 1710. So, yes, this is a cult Burgundy, a cult following. And when you meet somebody that's into Burgundy and they talk about their finds, their sort of go-tos, Roty is always one of those that comes up there. The first one we're going to start with is as pointed out by my trusty colleague here, smile. I feel like Penn and Teller. I should be the one not talking, though. Marsannay Rosé, the Marsannay Rosé, yes. So, Pinot Noir, 2017. Yes, 2017. Are we pouring old wine? No, we are not pouring old wine. We are pouring the current release vintage. Why is that, you ask? Because Roty has always believed in holding the wines to give them some age. Rosé is drinking over here in the States. It's obviously a young, fresh wine, but certain grapes have great aging possibilities. That is the case here with the Pinot Noir, as we see the same thing in Sancerre, where it is also 100% Pinot Noir Rosé. What they do in this case is, I believe, Sangnier, actually, where they bleed off the Rosé and then put it into the tank about 6 months or so, and then he will sit there, let it rest and age, and do another 6 towards the end and bottle. So therefore, by the time he's done and releases it, it sees almost 2 years. That's all right. 2 years there, and the idea of that is it's got a little rest on it, and it's got a little age to give it just that little tannic feel to it, and the bite, and he feels that makes it a more food-friendly. This is Burgundy, after all, that we're talking about. It's all about the food. It's all about the experience. And it gives that nice, beautiful, orangish salmon color. If you hold up, you can see that in your glass. And you take a nice little whiff there, and the first thing you get is a very aromatic, herby, just a little bit of, catches you there right off guard. And it's like, wow, that is something a little more special than your just regular fruity rosé that you might pick up at the grocery store. Right off the bat, we even get a little bit of lemon zest and pomegranate coming through, things that we don't always associate with that. And why doesn't everybody have a little taste?
Yep.
Lisa, I should have sent you over a sippy cup. So off the bat, then we get the signature flavors that we expect. Yes, we think there's going to be some strawberry and cherry because we're trained to think that shows up in every rosé, and let's be honest, it probably does. But we go far beyond that. We get the little pomegranate, again, that little bite comes through, that touch of citrus, that crisp, refreshing, it's delicious. At the same time, it's got a nice round mouth feel to it. Is this hard to say now? Hey, it's wine. What can I say? But it's delicious. It's satisfying. You can see how it really go nice with a little roasted chicken. Go good with a little vegetarian meal. Sit on the patio with this, and it's just heaven in the glass. Steve, do you have anything you want to say as you taste?
I get a little mushroomy, kind of like I want to eat like chicken marsala or something with this.
Yeah.
Steve eats chicken marsala.
Well, like a good one, like from like a real.
That's what we learned from this. There.
You know what I'm saying? A little mushroom and chicken, something like that.
Maybe some spicy grilled shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely getting, and Kelly was getting a little bit of a kind of a light, meaty, almost like slightly gamey quality to it, which you really don't expect. Maybe that's from kind of the herbal component.
But the herbal component and the, again, the ability of these grapes to age and the desire to age them and not just rush them to the market lets that develop. Lets those tannins really mature and pulls that in there. Yes, sir.
What's wrong with a good chicken marsala? Anyway.
And on that note, Jamie, why don't you show on the map where these are from, by the way?
All right, let's pull that up.
For the record.
Let's keep our spitter on this. What happened to our crew? Oh.
All right. So here we have a map of Burgundy from the always trustworthy Wine Folly. And And you can see that Marsannay is all the way up at the top of what's called the Côte de Nuit. So the Côte de Nuit is kind of home to some of the most prestigious, if you could call it that, I guess so, Pinot Noir in the world. So places like Vin Romanée, Chambolle-Musigny, Nuits Saint-Georges. Marsannay is pretty far north, so you're going to get a little bit more kind of light, crisp, tart Pinot Noirs that generally come out of that area. And as you go further south, you get a little bit more riper flavors. The soil also changes dramatically, but that's a whole other topic. Marsannay, I think if you really kind of like, even for red wines, if you tend to like kind of lighter style Pinot Noirs, that's really a great place to go to. And quite frankly, they're in general priced much more in a more friendly way than a little further south in the Côte de Nuit. So, so I love Marsannay. I know John loves Marsannay. And it seems like, honestly, a prime spot for a really good rosé. And I think this, I forget if it was direct press or Saigney, but whatever it is, it's done very well.
I honestly couldn't remember. I just sort of dropped in my head. So, quote me wrong on that. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm right on everything else. No.
Pardon me.
Says me never, honestly. Anyway, so we've got our rosé, and we've tasted how wonderful rosé is, and we think, wow, Burgundy's great just for rosé. Well, wait, stop, because that's not what it's famous for. It's famous for wine. But we have Roty Bourgogne. Yes. We had this great tasting where Patrick pulled out a high-end, hard-to-find 98-point wine estate Pinot Noir, and we pulled out a Bourgogne. Oh, the trick ends there. the trick ends there. This is
I'm the only one who tasted it.
This is the wolf in sheep's clothing here, though. This is the Burgundy that will set you apart and really put you on the trail. Again, the heritage of Roty goes back, like I said, to the 1700s. In fact, some people think it even goes into the 1600s, apparently, to some of the family members, so like Henry the Fourth or Henry the something Roman numeral, It's all crazy to me. Anyways, though, Pinot is what they're famous for, and red specifically. I mean, rosé is great, but the red is where it's at here. As said, this is the Cuvee de Pressionnier, and Burgundy's always been a great go-to for us. It's wonderful, and Bourgognes are wonderful because you can get in at a great price, you can taste great wines, and still have great lineage to them. This takes it a step above, like I said, though, being the wolf in sheep's clothing, because Cuvée de Pressionnier, up until 1994, I believe, was actually a Gevrey-Chambertin vineyard. So what we are drinking here, Mr. Patrick, with your 98-point wine, is declassified Gevrey-Chambertin for $31. So we are just perfectly fine with that, sir. We'll take our Gevrey any day.
Very nice, very nice.
You knew I had a card up my sleeve. Well, my sleeve's not very big, but I had something up there. So going back to the wine itself, though, you can see this beautiful color. And again, the nose right around, just even swirling it, comes right out. It's very expressive. You'll notice the fruit just comes up and grabs you, but you also get a little toastiness coming through without even getting it to your mouth. It's just in the air. It's the use of mostly neutral oak, French oak, of course, because what else would you use?
Yeah, I think it's only 20% new.
Yeah, it's a very mild regimen to it. The idea here is just to sort of gently warm it up. 17 itself was a great vintage, reviewed very favorably all across the board, especially by Alan Meadows, a Burghound, though, who has also himself been a longtime fan of the Roty wines, and because we appreciate and value his critics so much that this is one to us that, it's always, when it comes out, we look forward to getting our hands on it. Again, to get this kind of quality of wine that could be a Gevrey, that would be a $70, $80 wine for $35, $33 in our case. I think, $31.99?
$31.99, I believe, yeah.
Yep. Trust the man right there. That's why he's my trusty sidekick. But again, so right off the bat, we're going to put it back to our nose. We're going to get these wonderful flavors. I think it's pretty sort of obvious what's going to come out here, but you got your bright fruit, your layers, your toastiness. Then you've got a little maturity settling in. You've still got a medium body to it here. So it is a light one. It's got some medium, but there's still intense fruit. And that's where the interest level is. The complexity comes through because, as you can see, if you can, that it's not that thick of a wine, but the flavors themselves just layer through. And this is something that you could drink on the back porch. We could drink with friends and be perfectly fine. Yeah. But again, that roast chicken, those roasted vegetables, that coming off the grill, these are food-friendly wines that have just that acid to really make you salivate and want that extra meal there. All I can say is I hope you guys are as jealous that don't get to enjoy this with us as those of us that get to drink it here.
We are, John. We are.
On that note, I think we're going to turn it back to Jamie unless there's any questions or things people want to ask before I go back to this side.